Yeah. Oh, that okay.
I have kind of like 30 gray hairs up here. I was like, eh. Are you streaming yet?
Yep.
Oh, hi audience.
Oh, hi yourself.
This is your friendly neighborhood um, all-star gamer gal in person, kind of. It still says it's not. What? It still says you're not live.
I'm sure it doesn't because it's only been 40 seconds.
Why? I wonder why like the stream on my phone gets so laggy. Oh, there you go. I don't see your face on here.
Yeah, because you have my camera.
I don't see your face on here.
Yeah, because you have my camera.
I have. Oh, okay. So should I turn Skype off then?
Probably, I guess. Either way, you're gonna see my face.
Every time we say something, like it's only a couple seconds behind on this.
Oh, like in terms of how laggy it is?
Yeah. I think maybe it takes a while for like me to see your response because not only is there like lag time. Sorry, I'm like interrupting myself on this because I can hear my voice talk through the lag.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna turn that off. I think like what happens with like the delay is like you'll say something and it'll take a while for me to hear it, and it takes a while for me to type out the response and then send it, and then you'll see it immediately, but I won't get it until like seconds later, and I'll reply to that, which probably causes the lag.
Well, the other thing is that how far behind you are from me is always gonna just only get longer. It'll
I wonder why that is.
it like never actually catches up. It'll only just drops behind, so you don't miss content, but you get further behind.
Oh.
So if your internet's kind of choppy, you'll just get like further and further and further and further behind. And at a certain point, it should crash out though.
Like crash out? You mean like start over?
Like freeze entirely.
That's what happened to me the other day. It just froze. It kept freezing.
Yeah.
And I had to keep starting the app.
If you try to watch Twitch streams on choppy internet, that seems to be how it goes.
Yeah. Let's try to stream when you get here, and for me it's now 19 days. So when you get here in 19 days, let's stream together and then we'll have something to look forward to.
What should we stream?
We could stream some Donkey Kong if you want.
You know what?
Hmm.
I'll have my laptop for school stuff.
Oh yeah, we could try streaming on that.
Yeah, so I should be able to stream. I mean, you never know Elgato, so whatever we hook up to should be able to stream.
You wanna try streaming some PS4 stuff?
You gonna stream like Final Fantasy 15 or something?
Yeah, we could do that.
Wait, do we have two-player games on the PS4? We have that Lego game, but who cares about that?
We have the Lego game, we have... I think that's the only two-player one I have. But I don't care, we can switch back and forth between Final Fantasy 15 one. I would honestly just sit there and watch you play. Oh look at Mia, she's here.
Hi, Mia.
He's so cute.
My cute doggy.
She's cute like Mammy's cute. He doesn't like it when I touch her nose. It's like he didn't like sniffing my nail polish earlier. Alright, should I turn Skype off so I can watch you on my phone?
I suppose.
Alright, see you in like literally a second.
Alright. Bye-bye. And then hi again.
Bye-bye. And hi again.
Alright. I gotta do my, There we go. Oh, that's mislabeled. That says Logitech Cam, and it's the built-in one. That's funny. Okay, Hi. We're going into the, last day here. So... Just give me a second. The recap of what's happened recently. They might go over it, but I'll go over it real quick. We figured out everything that happened with the Officer Marshall thing. He went in and tried to find evidence in this locker. But somebody had shown up before him and taken the evidence out. Oh, I'm glad. As we were investigating on the last day, we found out that Marshall was pretty much like someone's pulling strings, and he heavily implied Gant. The lunch lady was pretty much like, yeah, Gant and Emma forged evidence. We learned that there's been forged evidence in the Joe Dart case. And we learned that Gant, by going into his office, we learned that he was hiding evidence, some of which was at least from this case as well. So, pretty much from what we can tell, Gant is doing some illegal stuff. And I'm assuming, because I don't remember exactly, but I'm assuming... I know we talked to Gant again at some point. I don't know if we start by talking to Gant, but we will talk to him, get to the bottom of this case, and then we shall see what really happened that day, or all the days that they've been questioning. This is the defendant lobby, all right, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. I have no idea who this is. No, something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth! Knowing you, you've already figured it out. You're the owner of the 777777 ideas, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch, considering we typed it into a safe in Gant's office and it opened the safe, you know? Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. And if that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True. Not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. The 5 minutes right, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! And I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid, today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. Now think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what the Chief Gant has on her, it's now. February 25th, 10 a.m., District Courtroom number 9. That's a good song. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is where the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant? Did you see me materialize there? That was quite amazing. Morning, folks. How's everybody doing? Hey, Edgy. Udgy, been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Gonna stare at the camera for a bit? Oh. Lana. That is to say, the defendant has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. She's probably being strong-armed by him to give a terrible fake testimony, and then we'll have to figure out what's lying in there.
And what's all this about, defendant?
I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished.
Well then, what's your request?
Your Honor, I'd like to put an immediate end to this trial.
Huh?
I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodwin. Stabbed him right in the stab wound. I mean, stabbed him for the first time in the underground parking lot in that prosecutor's office. You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please.
That's unorthodox, and I don't like you. No.
Oh, sorry.
Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise.
This can't be happening.
It appears that the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Hold it! Oh, objection!
One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature.
Good guy, Edgeworth, saving the day. Did you say stabbed him in the stab wound? Yeah, I did. It's like I stabbed him in the stab wound. I mean, there was I stabbed him for the first time.
Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you. But why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut?
I don't think I care for your tongue, Chief Gant. So I did like halfway to Gant's voice there.
I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant.
That's what he was supposed to sound like. Well, stabbed in the stab wound.
What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me that some kind of a deal was struck behind the scenes.
Some kind of a deal? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy.
I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. Now request the court hears her testimony.
Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue.
I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it.
Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. This, by the way, is sort of the ultimate end of Edgeworth's arc. The first game he goes to studying under Von Karma, who is a dirty prosecutor, and being just undefeated, all he wants to do is win. And this trial, since it's sort of after the first game, but kind of before the second game, this is Edgeworth essentially in his final form, if you will. I mean, we see him later and stuff too, but he is seeking the truth now more than he is seeking winning, his arc, essentially. And that is what he's doing right now. He's basically saving the case and saving Phoenix in the pursuit of truth. Wait, he studies under Von Karma, but that already happened. He's in the first game, yeah. He studied under Von Karma. He was Von Karma's like protege or whatever. And then, yeah, I'm not sure how I confused you. That all happened, and then this case is after that, right? So Von Karma's dead and gone and all that. So that's why I'm saying this is the end of his arc, because he's gone through that whole phase with Von Karma. He's gone through the whole, like, doing it for the wins. Now he's seeking the truth. That's his arc from the first game, and since this takes place after the first game-ish, it's kind of weird the way. They said he goes to study under him after the current case. No. This case is after Von Karma. So, anyway.
Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant?
Worthy, you'll live to regret this, mark my words.
Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand.
Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins.
Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name is Emma Skye. My occupation, I'm Juana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator.
2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct?
Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edward, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then.
He sure gave in fast.
No.
If it was Phoenix, he'd be like,
present the evidence showing that these cases,
anyway.
Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago.
I don't even know why I'm here right now. I've been dismissed. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. 2 years ago.
I was waiting in my sister's office that day, and a man came in again with onion hair, and he took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, and then I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The ice cream headed man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
And I passed out, and I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor.
You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence.
Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. I'm not sure why you're here, Phoenix, but do your job.
Who's paying me?
I don't know. Just do your job.
I was waiting in my sister's office that day. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct?
Yeah, she was second in command of the deputy chief of police Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever.
Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Skye used to be quite the pair. And I believe they shared the same office.
That's right. I always sit at my sister's desk. Right there on the left. Oh, we're gonna look at the organ, okay. And dream about playing that organ, which I couldn't done. I wanted to play it that day too.
The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day.
Well, I promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work.
Man came running in. Took me hostage. I was scared because of his onion head. Man?
Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer, I guess? I don't know.
Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room,
Right? I was gonna say correct.
Upon fleeing the room, Joe Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic, because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Skye and Gant's...
He ran into Skye and Gant's office. He ran into Skye in Gant's office? Is that what they meant to say? Anyway.
there was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened the door to have a look. That's when I saw the Onion Man!
Neil Marshall rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there?
That day, there were 2 people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Almost forgot about Gant.
Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony.
Whoa! What if Gant killed him? Then that would make it so easy for him to plan it on Joe Dark, and then he had to fabricate evidence for Joe Dark? Oh, man. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if that actually happened. I don't remember the case that well, but I'm just saying, oh, what a twist. Okay.
I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark.
When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead.
And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in?
I don't clearly remember what happened then, but I'll never forget what I saw on that instant.
Can you tell us about that?
Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out.
The lights.
It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and the lightning struck nearby.
So the electricity went out.
Wait a minute. And if it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything.
Right, but just then, the lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image in the scene in my mind.
Of the scene, excuse me.
I see.
And I told the detective about what I saw then.
The detective?
Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case.
Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim, the dead guy, the guy who's not around anymore because he's dead. Well, why wouldn't I want to hear more? I don't understand. Was the electricity out because it was planned? Ooh. If there's a lightning storm, maybe not. But, like, how convenient would it... I don't know. That seems like a stretch, because then it would mean Gant would have to corral him into that room, cut the power, knowing that there's a storm outside, and then go in and kill Neil and pin it on the Onion Man. Like maybe, I don't know. We'll see what the game says, but that'd be cool too. That'd be like a cool detail. All right. Anyway, so you spoke to Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago.
Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial.
And then you told Detective Goodman about what you saw.
Yes, but at the time the words just couldn't come out. So I drew a picture and it sucked.
A picture, yes. I think she mentioned that before. A very unscientific and bad picture. How can you not even draw like a stick man with a knife in his hand? I don't understand how bad it is. How can you be that bad?
Mr. Wright, have you heard enough?
No, the picture? Why would I stop when... What? This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning.
But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture.
Well, we have another evidence list, the other half of the evidence list, right?
Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor.
I drew a picture that's seen once, but seems to have been lost. So, I come to a crossroads in my playthrough, and let me just... I'm going to say things I think it's probably dialogue, because they're so good at being ready. So, I can press this, and we'll get a bunch of dialogue, or I can just present the evidence. And I kind of want to know what you want, because I have played through this before, so I kind of know what's... I don't know exactly, it's been so long, but... Do you want to see the dialogue, or do you want me to just push forward? More dialogue, okay. The new picture is seen once, but it seems to have been lost. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Alright, let me read that line. That was terrible. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right?
Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. Whenever I close my eyes.
It's ice cream from Sonic. The cup was so big I couldn't fit it in the freezer, so I cut the cup. They give you so much, it's crazy. Anyway.
That's strange. I took over the case after the prosecutor marshal died, yet I have never received a picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken?
But when I did draw it, I swear, I'm just not imagining it. I'm not just imagining it. I'm a terrible artist.
This picture that Emma drew, that reminds me. I should check the evidence again.
Well, anyway, let's continue. This scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us?
Oh, man.
Okay. Raised up his knife and stabbed it in Mr. Marshall's chest. But I drew a picture, I think, was the thing that popped out of that. Maybe there's more dialogue we're missing, but I think I'll just... So this should have a picture on it. Or we can't read it because... Oh, wow! Hello. That's a pretty good picture. I don't know, man. And the picture is drawn on the evidence list in magic marker. It's kind of cool, like, I don't know. I got a very bad feeling about this. I mean, yeah. What kind? It's just, is there any silly scenes? Can you play those? Only a few? There's plenty of silly scenes. I don't know how to trigger them, they just kind of come along normally. Alright. So, I mean, it's just like a McFlurry, right? So it's like vanilla, but then it has M&Ms in it. I also had them add chocolate, so it's basically just a chocolate McFlurry. Pretty good. Okay, here we go. Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence?
Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that the prosecutor for that case... All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture.
I love M&M's. I did M&M's and Oreos one time, but it was like too much or something. Butterfingers ones and Oreo ones. And strawberry milkshakes. I think this is the pursuit theme? Or no, this is the objection theme. And then the cornered theme, that's my favorite one. But this is like second favorite. Okay. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold!
This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident.
Please turn it over, Your Honor.
Turn it over. Turn it... Ah! What's this? It looks like a man falling off of a building holding a pipe above another man. Yes, what is that?
Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew.
Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list?
Sorry, the dialogue was scrolling too slow for me to read it like a normal person. I'm kind of trying to follow it as it scrolls because sometimes they'll talk kind of slow and then faster. Like, this is maybe a detail you haven't noticed, but I'll point it out now. You might have. This text will be like, like to sort of show you how fast they're saying the words. So sometimes they'll just be like, blah, 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 like a lawyer, super fast, and other times they'll just kind of like pace it out like they're thinking. So when they made this game, they literally went through every line of dialogue and chose the speed that the text fills in. So I try to kind of read it as it's filling in, but sometimes it's a little off.
Where's my rotisserie rat?
What's this? It's my order. It's Japanese, not Chinese. I'm offended. I see it rarely though. They don't use it all the time, but it's like, I'd say it's fairly prominent. Me?
Only a prosecutor in charge should have access to that list.
See, that was like fast.
Huh. These lists, they're different from each other.
See, his was slow, but yeah.
What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see it from the marks here where they were torn apart from each other.
So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half the evidence in that case ever reached you.
Yeah, you see how he did that? It was slow, and then it turned it to like a middle speed when he was like slow in his thinking, and then it was like whoop. Yeah. Anyway, yes, that's what's happening. Just pointing it out. Cool, you noticed it. I'm trying to follow along with that when I can because it helps you read the lines. But if it goes slow enough, it's like I kind of don't know what they're going to say, and then my inflection's wrong. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. What? 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 Okay, anyway. Order. This is Japanese, not Chinese food. But Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list?
Because that's what the Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor.
Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor! I want to listen to the cornered music. Anyway, we're almost there. I'm sure the cornered music will show up here soon. Your Honor!
Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head.
If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Huh. Didn't think about that.
Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. I never flipped this thing over. There's something wrong. All those M's are reminding me of M&M McFlurries.
You even had to ask.
Sorry, Your Honor. If there is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing!
Oh, sorry, I'm doing it wrong. Okay. Anyways, I'm done.
That's that thing. That thing was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this is an act of vandalism on the work of a certain chief of detectives.
I guess he was out of scrap paper. Evidence list restored and updated in the court record. Half of the list was found in Gant's desk.
Very well. Witness, will you please testify about the picture you drew 2 years ago?
What? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor.
What's wrong, Emma? With Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. Emma's picture, yeah.
This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Flash of lightning was so bright I only could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
So you drew the picture and then fainted?
No. Well, no.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image into your mind.
Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw.
Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. I almost said he was about to kneel on Prosecutor Murder Marshall. Wouldn't that have been funny?
Hold it, are you sure you drew that picture?
The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Emma's picture.
This is the picture I drew 2 years ago.
Flash of lightning. After that, I must have fainted. Okay, let's start pressing. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Did you draw this picture right after the incident?
I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. First, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything.
During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Ganton on the sky.
2 or 3 days later. The memory should still have been fresh in her mind.
Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why the picture is painted all black?
Because they gave me a black marker.
So bright, all I could see was shadows. So at the time you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue?
No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor.
You were knocked to the floor?
Dirk had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the Onion Man struck. Lightning flashed.
Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt.
What happened after the lightning flash?
After that, I must have fainted! Hold it! What happened when you fainted? Okay. Alright. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place?
No, I'm sorry.
The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further?
What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. There's the turnaround, a little witty dialogue that you could probably miss.
You know, this picture says exactly what I saw in that instant.
Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Did you draw the picture?
Of course, this is the exact same.
It wasn't influenced in any way by your talks with the detectives?
Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright?
No, of course not. Now you better watch out, or you might find some way to cut my salary.
I drew this picture before I had heard anything from the detectives. I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me.
Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture?
What? Oh, well, that's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind. Yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. So the game told me which statement to press, basically. The one where it's showing the picture. What is the contradiction in this picture, though? It's probably going to be one of the new pieces of evidence, so let's start there. If I check this, it is a piece of cloth. It's not that useful. With Emma's prints on it. Doesn't help us here. This list. Half of the list is found against the best. Whoa. Whoa! I didn't think it would be above them, but... This is what I show because this is the full picture, so this would ask her if she drew... the whole thing, I assume? Is that right? I'm not sure that exactly contradicts. One of those problems I have with Ace Attorney where I'm like, I'm not sure if you want something that directly contradicts or kind of just pushes the... I don't know, we'll present this and see what happens. Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. It does? Okay, yeah, this is wrong. I don't see anything contradictory, huh? Really? Objection overruled. Try to think. Okay. We'll have to take a look at, try this again. Contradicts. Photo doesn't contradict anything, but there's that jar back there. Stabbed in the back, died from a... Stabbed in the back. Died from a punctured heart and lung. Knife tip was in the wound. That's right, they did show him stabbed in the back in that one flashback for a second. Neil Marshall, 27, date of time of death, February 19th, between 7 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Caused death, single stab wound. Piercing heart in the lung, died from blow loss in under 10 minutes, weapon found. Piercing heart and lung. Shot in lung. Stabbed in the back. I think this is it. Because I don't think... It doesn't really look like a back stab, you know what I mean? It doesn't look like a back stab from that. Music stop. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction.
What? But I still remember it like it was yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of the picture contradicts the autopsy report?
Where do I point to show it's not his back? I don't know. That's interesting. The knife, I guess, right? It's the only thing I could think to point to. We can't, like... His stance, the way the guy, you know, the knife. Take that! The contradiction is, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man's holding. If you look closely, you can see the tip is broken. What? I mean, she just drew a box, dude. I don't know if I can go that far. Click the back? Well, but I'd have to click the back of the guy who's sitting down. It's just weird to ask me to point at something. I mean, he's right, it has no tip on the knife, but it's literally just a box that the guy's holding. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna throw this away. There's not enough definition. There's not enough definition there to say, no, well, where's the tip of the knife? Well, I don't know, where's his pants? Like, I don't know. I'll be right back. Oh, I've seen that picture before that you sent me. Yeah, it's just a general picture. It's just weird that you have to gesture towards one thing. When in reality, you'd be like, look at the stances of them, it doesn't look like that's a backstab. Also, but the whole tip of the knife thing, that's not really what I was going for, but sure, game, let's go with that. If you look closely, you can see the tip's broken.
I mean, I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright.
What? Can everybody... Is everybody looking at, like, a different picture than I'm looking at?
But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too.
If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
It was the conclusive evidence. It was a conclusive piece of evidence that proved how Dark was the murderer.
I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma.
Objection! Then where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem?
It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken.
What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand.
Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there.
That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken.
That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly.
But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There's another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence?
You're treading on thin ice, right?
All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility.
No. Order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted?
Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. 2 years ago, those two guys were still standing outside the entrance, with one of them saluting the other. Those guys never move, do they?
No, they certainly don't. I'm not really sure how they still work there.
After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It's my belief that somewhere in this story, there's a lie.
I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife.
If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives?
Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? Nope, I already know what it is. If the witness in this If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by simple observational error.
Mr. Wright, what happened to your speech pattern?
Bam! In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife.
I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us.
The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon! It's Edgeworth's knife. He went back in time and stabbed... Oh wait, no, that's not it. It is the broken knife after all. Oh wait, no, that's not it. That's not it. The screwdriver... Oh wait, no, that's not it. Rubber glove? I think he cut him with the rubber glove! No wait, no. Oh, it's the photograph! The photograph did it. That's the one. Take that! The answer lies in the past. 2 years ago in the past. Right here inside this picture.
This is a picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon.
Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding.
That's...
Oh, Judge. Emma.
That's a broken knife.
As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award.
Order!
Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors Award that day. I said award twice. As an award, he was given this broken shield and a knife. It's supposed to be a halberd, I don't know why it's a knife, but yeah. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation.
Objection!
But that can't be.
No, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth?
Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed.
What do you mean?
I mean, the man raising the knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Oh. Oh! Oh boy, that changes things.
But the prosecutor was the one who actually died.
That's true. What's going on here?
It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions.
Wait, I remember now. I remember everything.
Witness.
Mr. Edgeworth,
What is it?
could you show me your evidence list again, please?
This list.
Did you know that Edgeworth and Wright were born between 1992 and 1993? Oh, okay.
This list. The one that with the picture scribbled on the back.
It wasn't scribbled. I poured my heart and soul into it. I knew it. In this picture, I'm the one who drew it.
What?
You drew that.
That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. I was just a really big fan of the Blue Badger.
He didn't exist at the time.
Whatever. Play the games. He's cool.
Oh boy, you're gonna get a lot of info that you're not supposed to know yet.
All this time I've been trying so hard to forget, and I must have locked this part away deep inside me.
Well, they were like, oh, she didn't draw that. That's the Blue Badger, pretty much.
Perhaps it would be the best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you recalled, Miss Sky?
Yes, Your Honor.
First the knife mix-up, and now the Blue Badger? The Blue Badger did it the whole time! It was sitting there gyrating with a knife in its hand, and it stabbed him, and it was like do 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 do. Okay. Blue Badger drew it, you mean? No, she drew it. She drew it. Emma's recollection.
When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. And then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the Blue Badger. It wasn't in the room. I'm sure I saw his shadow.
This is certainly the most unusual.
Objection!
Try impossible! The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year.
That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, Phoenix, thank you. But you were saying they didn't... Oh, I missed the dialogue. Whoops. Stop. Please, don't pursue this any further. You were saying they didn't know she drew it, so were you saying they thought the Blue Badger drew the second... No. So, they saw that picture and they were like, there's the Blue Badger drawn on it. This clearly has nothing to do with the case, because the Blue Badger didn't even exist. And then they're just getting back to that again. She's like, no, I did draw that. And they're like, but what are you talking about? Because the Blue Badger didn't exist, so we're kind of getting to that point here. Why would you draw that if the Blue Badger doesn't exist? How does that make sense? So pretty much we're trying to figure out how the Blue Badger is in this case murdering someone or whatever. Anyway. Stop, please, don't pursue this any further. Lana!
What's the meaning of this?
I bet she's the Blue Badger.
Please remain seated in the defendant's chair.
But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that?
Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant.
It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. How did the Blue Badger murder people? Without even existing. Was it a badger ghost? When I saw that man raise his knife. Hold it! You saw a knife? What are you talking about? When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark?
Yes, at least I think it was him.
You think?
Well, I could really see where shadows...
The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then you.
I panicked and rushed towards both of them. Why would you do something so dangerous?
What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall.
She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife.
But as we've just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife.
I didn't know that at the time. It was dark and lightning and stuff. When that dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help out the other person. So I just blindly attacked people in the middle of a murder.
I don't know, anyway. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. What do you mean, you think?
It all happened so fast. And I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's all kind of a blur.
Miss Sky was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. So with so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural.
Dark is in the dark. Sometimes their names are a little spot on, a little too on the nose. Sometimes it's not even just on the nose, it's just literally is a nose. Okay, anyway.
I saw the man who was about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall, and I knew I had to stop the man with the knife.
What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? What happened next?
Do. That's when I saw the blue badger! How's that possible? Are you sure about this?
Of course, see? Even drew a picture of him here.
But it was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The blue badger didn't even exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable.
You probably don't remember this? But when we watched the movie, there was a man running around in the blue badger costume. Maybe you do. I think he's in a few scenes. But yeah, anyway.
And I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before somewhere.
Stab, 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 do.
Now I finally remember.
Oh, brother, where art thou? Just when you thought that things had caused enough commotion, that thing had caused enough commotion.
Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing?
He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Oh, cool. His shadow? Oh yeah, he stops the gavel from coming down at one point with his hand. Yeah. So you mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all?
That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns.
This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken.
That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did.
No, and I suppose you have an explanation. And if so, by all means, please show us what the shadow really was.
What was it Emma saw when that lightning flashed? Who is this blue badger, really?
I think I just might know.
I actually do know. This is one of the things I remember. I remember this, and then I remember also my camera's kind of weirdly dark. I remember 2 things specifically that happened in this case. This is really hard. Like, you would not figure this out, I don't think, without some help, or I don't know. But I do know what it is because I've done this before. That should illuminate my face a little bit more. Okay. There's another thing that's crazy in this case, and I'll show you what happens, even though I know how you're supposed to do it. Alright, check this out. This is nuts. I think it just might know. The blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture, yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room.
Mr. Wright!
In this room. Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious Blue Badger lookalike.
It's the freaking jar. Check this out. This is nuts. The mysterious blue badger was, in fact, this.
But that's... what exactly is that?
I believe it's some sort of jar.
But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the Blue Badger.
Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to press this button on the side? No, I'm just kidding. What if we were to change our viewpoint?
Our viewpoint.
I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this form. Do you see it? Wait, this isn't right. What?
Objection!
Mr. Wright can't match the thing. I just did it! They should rotate it vertically a bit more, or horizontally. Do it this way? No, because it's showing me the freaking picture. I want it to go up more? It's like that? What? It looks just like... What? Okay. Oh, wait. Like this? Oh! Maybe it wants it to be facing like this. The other way around? Probably like that. So the fat end's towards me?
Objection!
At least they knew this was BS, so they didn't, so they don't penalize you. But seriously though, more like this, maybe? A little steeper? I don't get it!
Objection!
More straight up and down? Okay, that's...
Objection!
Why doesn't this work? Okay, they're straight up and down. Well, yeah, you have to have it tilted. Is this what you're asking? Because you really do have to have it tilted to make it look right. But is this what you want? Because I'm not sure what the game's looking for, because this isn't right. Yeah.
Objection!
Because I don't think it's necessarily upside down they're looking for. I think it's... That looks like it to me. Like I can see it. Okay, it took that. I don't know why it took that, but it didn't take anything else. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one could possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the Blue Badger.
It can't be! Order! Order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this.
Objection!
And although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point?
What do you mean? That was annoying and hard to do.
So, that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything.
Objection!
I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything.
Indeed, very well then. Please tell us, what's different now that we know the witness saw this jar?
Murder weapon? Because it has blood on it and it was broken? No, because he still had the knife in his hand. He wasn't holding the jar. But the location? Not the murderer. Well, wait. It could be the murderer if there was somebody else holding a jar. If you look at the thing here, hold on. If you tilt it the other way, it's coming down on the guy's head who has the knife. So somebody threw it. Or something. So this took place. Hold on, let me look at this. That means that this took place on the right side of the room by Gant's stuff. Which is weird because Emma was on the other side? No, but she went and opened the door. And it was Joe Dark, right? So she wasn't even necessarily over there. But yeah, this is over on the right side of the office, Gant's area. But we don't really know where... Okay. This is the part where I save. Because I don't... I think it's... location? But we haven't really talked about the location. Let's talk about the murder weapon. Let's see what happens if I say the murder weapon. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar.
At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright.
Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar?
Where?
The location of the jar is shown in the picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant.
Objection!
But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk.
It was? Did we establish this? Did we actually establish this? I don't remember them being like,
It happened over here.
in which case, yes, the location is the answer.
The witness testified so herself.
Objection!
Yes, and these two facts reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office.
Objection!
Now you're implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office.
Yes,
Why would he do that? There's no reason.
exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason.
Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright?
I finally figured it out. I guess that was the right answer. The murder weapon is different. This is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Even though we didn't bring that up when we were talking, we just talked about the location. Police recalled the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In this next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying?
That would have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, it would tilt forward and make the blue badger head above the person. What would he have hit?
a suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous, pointy-looking, murderous sword.
Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy.
No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking.
Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Oh,
Another possibility.
of course, the perpetrator would have no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this.
Mr. Wright, what's the matter?
If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall,
Emma Sky did it. Emma Sky was the murderer.
You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me?
Done.
I never imagined your testimony would lead to this.
So it was the witness that took the victim's life. And then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented.
What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances,
Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. You're both a pack of murderers. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall?
evidence?
I'm willing to bet you don't.
Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence.
If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony.
I'm afraid that won't work in this case.
Both parties involved in the incident are dead.
We certainly can't get dead people to testify because Mia's not here. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning.
Touche, Miss Sky.
That's pronounced touche.
And of course, that only leaves us with one possibility.
You mean there's still another possibility?
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. That's impossible.
Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. The message from the deceased. Does such a message exist?
I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is in the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. But can you please explain how Emma would have done it? I'm literally confused. So, Emma couldn't tell who was who, right? And so, because it was dark and the lightning flashed and all she could see was silhouettes, she saw somebody holding a knife. The person holding the knife was Neil Marshall. He was holding a broken knife because he had the King of Prosecutors award that he had taken the knife section off of to attack Joe Dark. Emma thought that was Joe Dark, rushed into him and shoved him over by that jar. We know where they were because that jar was tipped and fell off the shelf, right? And that's how she saw that blue badger shape, because when it was falling, it looked like that. She shoved him into that suit of armor that's holding that like spear, sword, knife thing,
and he got stabbed by it, thus meaning Emma killed Neil Marshall. That's not the end of the case. Remember, we saw Neil Marshall's body with a knife in his back. I think, is he laying on top of Joe Dark? So there's more stuff that happened, but that's what happened. Okay. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. My purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. The Gaia droid, no matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Take that.
Take that!
This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Is he going to speak the killer? Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name? Yes, the blue badger's going to testify now. If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. The message is left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line there drawn in blood. And so what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points. And the victim's message will become apparent. No. Also, that's another super hard thing, but I remembered that, I guess. Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal the answer. I gotta connect these dots to make letters. What a fun puzzle game! Whee! There's only one thing the victim would have written under the given circumstances: his murderer's name! It's the defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocent. Innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people. She may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Sky. See, Worthy. Can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gant. Do you understand the implications of what you've just done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. And I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Innocent? He was a serial killer. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction.
Objection!
But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know we aren't defenders of justice?
What?
We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death, it's no light matter. Even if there wasn't a cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, the fact cannot be denied.
Don't trust you, you orange old pumpkin man. Oh, it's a missing dog. They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault?
Order, 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 order! My food is finally here. The gavel pounding fell on deaf ears.
Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Oh, it's Phoenix. Last time there wasn't a... It was just a narration sentence. It wasn't actually Phoenix saying it. This is weird. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. How fast it goes, I don't know. To be continued. He wasn't innocent, and Edgeworth didn't know. You withered squash. Well, next time we'll finish the... No, I'm just kidding. I'll keep going until we're done. I don't think there's a ton left, but I could be wrong. I'm sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble.
Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're about to find out. You gotta let know if pal making a detective run around or here while on duty. And tell me to call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you running errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Yeah, she asked me to give you this if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. I like how it's a little chick holding a hat with a pipe. That's great.
You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
Isn't that right? Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You can always study some evidence law, really. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Yeah. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, Detective. Huh?
Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me?
Mr. Edgeworth.
The real trial today hasn't begun yet.
What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility has been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. And when Sky found out she would unwittingly caused a man's death. And now, you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal! You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're gonna expose him, no matter what it takes. In this case, it's hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. February 25th, 12:52. So Lana stuck a knife in the guy's body to make it look like Joe Dark did it, so that Emma wouldn't have to live with knowing the fact that she accidentally killed Neil Marshall. But she had to use forged evidence to make that happen. That's what they were just saying. Anyway,
Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking. Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedence to what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Yes. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal.
Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over.
The defense calls Neil Marshall.
He's dead, Mr. Wright.
Ah, crap. That was the last chance.
I did save, right?
The defense calls. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. It was Meekins all along.
Take that!
Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand.
Damon Gant. What does he have anything to do with this? Does he have any, what? I don't even, what?
As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it.
As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have manipulated me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right, bailiff. Please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way out to lunch, and I was going to go swimming right after.
Right after eating? Don't you have to wait an hour for that?
Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Wow, I'm bad at introducing myself.
Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony.
Oh, righto. What's with the grim face?
First, let's clear up this SL9 incident.
Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already.
No. There's still some things unaccounted for.
Oh, like what?
Like the role you played in all this. Gant's voice, for me, is somewhere between Plankton and Patrick Stewart. That's kind of where I'm aiming. He's bad at introducing himself, as evidenced by his procrastination on the matter. It's just me screwing up his lines.
Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a chief of...
Wow, okay, let me try this again.
You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons?
Sure, take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to.
What? Is that true?
I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony.
So I didn't see.
As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut.
If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day.
Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that.
Was the defendant Lana Sky also present in the room?
I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it.
If he bumped his head, he wouldn't have written Emma's name, or are they saying Neil Marshall wrote Emma's name? Neil Marshall wrote Emma's name in blood. Reached around to his back, and then reached right, something, I don't know. Make a long story short, we slipped up. Power outage didn't help either. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right?
That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs, I guess you could say. He got lucky.
What's this about a power outage?
Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart, though.
That's not funny.
When I went to my office, I found Lana there.
Could you tell us what you saw?
No, it was a shocking sight.
There's the scene.
Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together.
Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor?
Yes, but apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to him were those two poor girls.
Lana and Emma.
Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done.
How could she possibly know that? That's hot. What? Yeah, I missed something there. Apparently she'd already been arranged in the crime scene. How can you know that?
Because of the victim's body. And it had already been moved.
So that means you found the body near Lana's desk.
That's right. And I think you said earlier, it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor.
Yes.
Anyway.
Two bodies in the knife. Just a terrible joke. Oh, sorry. Yeah, because they're laying on top. Yeah, I got you. Sorry. Oh, that necrophiliac murder something or other. I don't know. Okay, anyway. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgeries. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances.
Is that how it really went down?
Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record.
Worthy, always the smooth talker.
But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow, I gotta link Gant to the incident. You ever figure out the whole car thing and Lana wearing the blood coat? Or am I just that oblivious? No.
Remember that she said that she was basically put up to do that. She was given a body to take out. Well, I guess we did. We mostly did. We have most of the picture, okay? But we don't have everything. Lana claimed that Gant had her dispose of the body. She had to plant it in Edgeworth's car. She hid the real murder weapon for that specific murder, I think. I don't know. She hid that broken knife in the tailpipe, and she called her sister, because I think she wanted her sister to find it or something. Sorry, what? Which body? Goodman. Talking about Goodman, right? We ever figure out the whole car thing? Lana wearing the blood coat. I'm not sure why she was wearing the blood coat. We're still going to get more info on that, right? Because Gant put her up to it, so we have to get Gant's part of that story. But we haven't gotten there yet. We're kind of starting chronologically with him, I think. Anyway. Okay, I gotta go over each of these. Neil and I were questioning that day. Right? Make a long story short, we slipped up. Power outage didn't help either. Right, because he ran out of the room. That's what they're talking about. When I went to my office, I found Alana there. So he's claiming he showed up after Alana. Probably right. I don't think we have anything to contradict that. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. How much time did she have to do that? That's crazy. I don't know if he's maybe lying about that, but again, I don't know how do we... You can see he had nothing to do with the forgery. Oh, right. They were saying we had to prove that he had something to do with it, right? So I think this is the thing we need to present on, but I don't know what we need to present. Right? That's what they were saying. Did admit to forging evidence. Gotta link Gant to the incident. Yeah. So, I had nothing to do with it, so we have to prove that he did have something to do. Guess we'll start with... In this evidence list, I start by going left first, because that's where all the newest stuff is. 2 rules of evidence law. Rules for submitting evidence. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence must be relevant to the case. I need Chief Gant's safe, but we don't know what this has to do with it. It's prints, but we don't know what it has to do. Okay. This evidence, half of the list is found in Gant's desk. Why was only half of it found in Gant's desk? Because he was hiding it, right? For some reason? We don't really know why he was hiding it? Exactly. Although it probably helped implicate him. But he would have stuff relating to that, right? I'm not sure this is it. I'm not sure it's not it either. Right, because this has to specifically be about forgery. I don't think this evidence list shows forgery. This picture won't show forgery, right? No, because this happened before, so... Hit in the back, died from... knife attack. I don't know how this shows Gant had anything to do with it. This does have something to do with forgery, but I don't think it has anything to do with Gant. Because this was Lana putting the knife in his back so that it wouldn't be... Neil's death wouldn't be pinned on his sister. I don't think it has anything to do with Gant. SL9 files? Okay, let's look through this again. Go dark, serial murder, son's death. Killed these 6 people. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, witnesses on this guy and this guy. Executive investigators Damon Gant on this guy. Okay, this shows that he worked on the case, but it doesn't show that he forged stuff. It's not the stupid Blue Badger security video. Not gonna be Marshall's bloody fingerprint. Final fragment found in Chief Gant's safe. Emma is written on the surface. I'm not sure how that shows forgery, right? Oh, right. Sorry. No, that should be it, because it's not that he's saying I had nothing to do with it. This proves that he did have something to do with it, although it doesn't necessarily say how much he does have to do with it. But he was hiding a piece of this, right? That is easily the best thing that we've seen so far. It's not going to be evidence locker. Probably not going to be a rubber glove. Screwdriver has maybe something to do with something later on down the line, but I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's unstable charge. Okay. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that's a claim you cannot back up. And explain yourself. I'm not sure if you're asking yourself. I'm just kind of going over each piece and talking about if it contradicts or what it means or how it has to do with him. There's a ton of stuff. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the Blue Badger jar you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence that uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Get back, get right. Done. Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Oh! Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then? That you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto?
Objection!
However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Evidence in forgery. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment in the list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Doc was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in the forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief. Would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, Archie. In return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys, telepathic, or what? Let's go swimming, Archie. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations.
Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that.
What? Now have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped...
Mr. Wright, what are you saying?
Anyway. Oh, sorry.
Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry the evidence in, can you? Or you didn't carry the evidence, did you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're gonna need it later.
Later? What are you talking about?
What else? I'm talking about when Wright-Owen's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal.
Grr. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. What do you mean by that?
This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery.
If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery...
I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered.
If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation?
It would appear not, after all. It wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Doc was sentenced.
Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient?
Right. The chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time.
Tell me something I don't know.
Come now, Righto. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery.
How can you look me in the eye and say that?
Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was on the sky. Well, now do you see?
How are you holding up? You're probably pretty tired at this point. I don't know how much longer we have, but I feel like we still have a bit to go. So... let me know if you're still doing alright. I'll keep trying to power forward. I can try to speed up a bit. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Camp? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this.
Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit?
That would of course be the position you have. Chief of Police.
Oh.
The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That, in itself, is sufficient motive.
Oh, I'm Santa now. Oh, that's a good one.
Huh?
Do you really think I'm that incompetent?
What do you mean?
Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of the SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little.
Is that true, Edgeworth?
Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway.
Gah! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at.
So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else.
Don't be silly, Worthy. You're no better than that. There's only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and Irene. I. Ah, there. It's out in the open now. Haji, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little?
By all means, please do.
I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you?
Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again.
You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone.
Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised.
You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. That's a good one, Worthy. I'm sad to know again. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Lana. Right? Lana was his left-hand man, or right-hand man, right? He would have helped out Lana, right? True, he might not help anyone out for their sake, because it was like his... But if it would benefit you, he might decide to assist someone. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It helps him to help Lana, right? Because she was an accomplice? Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief. Yeah, well, Lana would have helped him. Yeah, I think they were partners, right? I don't know. As a nice man who likes to lend people... Sorry. I split that line up. He's like, it seems you're trying to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well, then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Lana Sky.
Take that!
Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky, the defendant.
I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit.
Self-profit? What do you mean?
After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Sky was appointed Chief Prosecutor of the Prosecutor's Office. Oh, by helping her, he can blackmail her. Ooh! The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant.
But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. And essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. You mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? No, wait. You must mean puppet, as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind.
Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Sky in forging evidence. Your motive? To appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana? She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant.
I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless, that is also what happened in this incident. This incident, which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strangely throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. No one wants you to get hurt. Just what do you mean?
What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement.
What? Order. I said order! Mr. Rat, you can't be serious.
Huh?
This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder. Impossible.
Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Ashworth said in an easier to understand language for the laymen. You know, the people in the peanut gallery.
It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now.
It looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this.
And you proved this, Mr. Wright. that the chief of a high-ranking officer of the law is involved in this murder.
You realize that Edgeworth and Phoenix are working together now. They're both in this 100%. So if they don't get this guy, he's gonna like completely ruin their careers. Beautiful thing. The two guys working together. Best friends forever. Good question.
Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? And I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got. And it better be good. Show us the evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman.
Oh, oh boy. I can't even save. That's a little scary. Evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Goodman. Not evidence law. We don't know what this cloth is. Ties him to the case, but it doesn't tie him to the murder. No, that ties him to the old case. We're talking about Goodman. Goodman. So none of this evidence has anything to do with Goodman except for the security video, and I'm not watching that again. Just Google it, lol. Part of the fun is trying to figure it out, though. I have a thing, I mean, I already have a guide that I can pull up and look at. I have it, like, bookmarked. If I get stuck, I'll just do that. I get it, it's nice. Only be submitted to the chief. Screwdriver, still haven't figured out what that's. If you guess wrong until the bar goes to 0, then what happens? Then you lose the game. It goes back to when you last saved, which it's not letting me save now, so usually you can just save wherever, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Driver's fingerprints from the handprint. Carriage record. He entered the evidence locker and took the evidence out before... Yeah, okay. That ties into the Bruce Goodman thing. I don't know if it's the murder, but it ties into Bruce Goodman and the whole... this whole thing.
Take that!
This is the ID card list.
Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number.
What? How do you know that?
The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. 7-digit code.
7 digits, you don't mean.
I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list, and you can usually just save anywhere. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime! Look at that animation or whatever. I haven't seen that before.
Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say?
Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations.
Then I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now this court demands an explanation from you. About the use of this ID card.
Oh yeah, this is the music I like.
Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime.
It's my favorite. I love this music. What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want.
Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone?
I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room.
Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? No, of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days.
Objection!
You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? The trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt.
Objection!
No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met with the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? I know what it is. In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask for evidence. Show us proof that the victim met with Chief Gant on the day of the crime.
It's something I accidentally just looked over and read.
It should be the
lost item report. Can only be submitted to the chief of police. Wait, he's not the chief of police, right? It's not the guy that sits at the desk. Take that anyway! Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime.
No, to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it.
So Detective Goodman filed out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police.
Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure he filed it.
He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day.
Who needed to?
Yes, to transfer the evidence out.
Oh.
Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room.
I accompanied him.
There's no other way that the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. The murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room.
Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman.
Exactly.
But wait. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort.
Objection!
I'm sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Chief Gant, you didn't.
The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the chief or the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. I know, he goes so nuts when he freaks out. He turns into like a lightning bolt. It's crazy. I always remember that crazy lightning bolt sprite. Anyway,
You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department that entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony.
everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal.
Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we needed to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space.
How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence.
To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. What?
shoes. Used his shoes. Because he walked. What is this? Stuffed him in the broken jar. Okay. What the refrigerator? I'm gonna look this one up. What the? Yeah, this is just a bookmark. Let's go to the bottom. Useless item. Yeah. I don't get it. I found the answer. I don't get it. It's the screwdriver! He used a screwdriver to move the body. He did say it was a useless piece of evidence so far, which is the screwdriver, but...
Take that!
This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body!
What's that? The screwdriver.
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't have got that. I never would have got that.
But what does that have to do with this case?
Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What's this screwdriver doing here?
It's here because... I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. They told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbing, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day,
Do you want me to wait up for you, or...? We are... So now I'm looking at the guide here. We are... Let's see. Pretty close to the end, I guess. 1, 2, 4, 5. There's quite a bit left. We're getting there. Water. The suspense. Oops. Okay. I think this usually takes her like 6 or 7 minutes. We're gonna inch along. We're gonna keep moving, but we're gonna inch along.
after the day the ceremony ended... After the ceremony ended that day, they didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office.
But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. I don't understand the screwdriver thing. You can take your phone during this. Maybe she didn't, I don't know.
You mean I...
The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. Wait. You wouldn't have drove Edgeworth's car there. You didn't miss much. I only moved a little bit forward. We're still talking about the screwdriver. I think you've only missed like 3 or 4 lines of dialogue. Phoenix is just explaining what the screwdriver's relevancy is. So you haven't really missed much. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car! Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief?
Oh, he planted it in Edgeworth's car, and then Edgeworth drove back to get the screwdriver, thus transporting the body.
Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye.
Order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk and to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite.
That is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. I wondered why it smelled like a dead body in there. Chief Gant, please say something.
I believe, your time's up.
My time's up.
Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it for the early bird special.
Objection!
But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now.
What? This is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
Objection!
So you're going to just run away after all this?
I thought I actually said that. Oh, sorry.
Look at this photograph.
Wonder why it smelled like a dead body in there. I know, I had to throw that in there. Run away! Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman, that's what you say, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You didn't think I had Lana dispose of the body? And if so, then show your proof and get it over with.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. I'm going to save just in case for you.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Mr. Wright. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright,
Your Honor.
do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered the Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye's body dispose... and made Miss Skye dispose of the body.
Do I have any concrete proof? Well, we need to talk to her. I don't have proof yet. Thank you, Mr. Guide, for telling me what to do. It's no use showing evidence I'm not sure of, even sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present I have no conclusive evidence.
See, Ajay? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief.
What?
Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Ajay, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer of our nation's law enforcement agency.
Wow!
Objection!
Lady Luck, maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony.
The lady who knows the truth. Another witness.
In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony.
But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify.
There's still someone else, one more witness, who can answer all the questions, right? You have to call witnesses, remember? Raised in this trial, someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? I can't call people, remember? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today.
It's weird. I don't normally do this.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
She may not be willing to tell the truth. We can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls for
Should be Lana. Guide says Lana, let's do Lana. The defendant, Miss Lana Sky. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body, in accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold it! Huh? Oh, she can. Hold it! I don't have one of those animations, but hold it. Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Ah, this isn't good. Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway. Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. He wants Angel's Bentos. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. I'm just gonna ignore that blatant strong-arming. It happened right in front of me. February 25th, 2 p.m. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That Chief, he's something else, hey pals. Detective Gumshoe, I know, right? Ha ha ha, I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Nah, don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. Oh, take the place of that top-knot girl you used to work with. Did he mean Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How he always gets the upper hand. It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said? G or whatever. It's the definition of strong arm. It's like forcing someone or pushing someone to do something. But Chief, that's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Is that you, Emma? He forfeits the right to say anything too. Yeah. Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. No, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Okay, I'll slow it down. Slow it down a little bit. Oh, this guy. Okay, so it looks like we have to talk to him. There's still a bit to go here. Oh, okay. It's a long stream. It's the end of the trial, which is why. Usually I'd end my streams around here. 2 hours in, usually it takes some pretty rough on my voice. But the problem is the judge's voice. It's the judge's voice that hurts me the most. I don't think any of the other voices that are present right now really do much to me. They just kind of cause the slow burn of general fatigue. Which I can do much more than 2 hours on, it seems like. It seems. Yeah, alright. Oh, same thing as last time. She's taken her doggy to go potty. So we're gonna move forward, but we're gonna move forward slowly.
funny? I almost feel somehow relieved.
Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. I think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by the terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me.
Yeah. She seems only a bad person because she is a weak person who was forced to do a bunch of evil stuff. Is that right? No, she still did that whole evidence forging thing with Joe Dark's body. It was to protect her, but it put her in a bad spot because she basically did something illegal. So, you know, I don't know about that. She's still gonna get her. You know what I mean? She's gonna have a little punishment there for that. Go to jail for a few years. She was doing evil things for kind of good reasons, I guess. She's not as bad as Gant, that's for sure. Anyway.
And ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her.
What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. Forced herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to.
That must be why she became so cold.
It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. You wanna blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery. But he can't fool my memory, and I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor.
Back, she still won't go. What did I miss? Very little. 3 to 4 lines of dialogue. I've just been chugging through it really slow. Emma's just been saying, oh, now I know what really happened, why my sister did this stuff. She's kind of going over things that we know. I see. Well, I better get back. It's time for the final act. How do you know this is the last part of the game? Oh,
Emma, why don't you wait here? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth.
Let's go, right? It's time to end this.
To be continued. I've played the games, pal. I know when this case ends.
Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, please take the stand? Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor, and I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You all know what I've done these past 2 years.
Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you are under oath. You want to hear the truth.
Of course. The truth.
Anna, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Even when you're in jail forever.
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant.
Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only one who can fix this against Gant. That's not what I actually said, but Blake misread it and tried to salvage it, but not that well. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Whatever. And the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Doc convicted. It has nothing to do with Emma. Screw you, sister.
Are you sure about this testimony?
Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure.
But Lana...
If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this.
That's what I've been telling you from the beginning.
Please, Mr. Ryan, you gotta help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
But what if she's telling the truth?
She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
Sure, yeah, whatever. This is no time to be second-guessing myself. Alright. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. We can go straight for it, since it's getting late, if you'd like. I have the guide up, we can just go boom, streamline towards the end, since there's still a bit left to go. Probably like maybe almost 45 minutes or so, it looks like. Maybe even more, I don't know. I'll press this while I see what your response is. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective, let's see, I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years. Detective Gant and Detective Scott were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia. Damon Gant was a respectable detective, that's why. Let's go for it while I'm so tired. Okay. So, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Press the fourth one, it says. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor's award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed wasn't possible. That you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Still trying to protect her, huh? Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. And if that's so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh. That was lying on the floor, a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up lies with more lies. It was just to protect me, even though I don't need protecting. Why didn't she listen to me? So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, pointed it inside the wound, and then moved the body. It's an accident, especially at 14, that Emma should believe it. She already knows that's the stupid thing. Rises her statement, press it again. Broke off the tip, pointed at the body. Okay. You pointed the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's body, and then you moved the body. But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know it. You always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others. Why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. Pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. So, I think... That's it, right? So let's do it. Why'd you move the body? Let's do it. I did Testament. So I think... It's telling me to put this here? Okay. Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at this crime scene when Neil Marshall was murdered? If that's the truth, if the truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. The contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on the jar in the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where a contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write the message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. And how did Emma see the jar tilted in that direction? What? Order. Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regards to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here.
Something critical?
Chief Prosecutor, it seems that you're in the dark as we are, but the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell me exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at that truth. Very well, the witness may now continue her testimony.
Jar and message in blood.
I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. And all I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
We're still a ways out from the end. I'm doing my best to go fast, but you can always watch it tomorrow.
You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? It wasn't Chief Prosecutor. I wasn't Chief Prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Immediately noticed blood, 2, 3, 4. The fragments were so large, I'm sure I got them all, but she didn't. That's I didn't press. Whoops. How could you see with the powers out? It should have been pitch black. The detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I can't have a pocket light. I carry a luminol. Okay. Fragments were so large that you missed one.
Objection!
Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of.
What?
We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe.
The Chief's safe? But how?
I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it.
But the witness just testified.
What's the rest tomorrow? I can't stay awake any longer. Looking forward to finishing it. Good night. Good night. I'll still power through it so you don't have to watch a really long video. So I can go to bed too. Thanks for watching. Sweet dreams. Alright.
But the witness testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them.
Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you.
But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
Objection!
I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective.
That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe that?
Objection!
And have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. And there's no way a name could have been written on the shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. And I hope you're not implying that person was Chief Gant at the time. He was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar?
Objection!
The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide the fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that?
No! No!
I like how we turned it on him.
Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar, and then purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question, what is this action called?
Fabrication of evidence.
But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? And what happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Sky believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Sky became the chief's puppet. Ooh, she bites her finger and blood shoots out. Wow.
No, I did it on my own. Please stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients.
Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client.
I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth.
Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap?
There's something wrong, Mr. Wright.
Lana may be right after all.
What do you mean, right?
So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
Miss Sky, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall.
Miss Sky, if you will. No, what if she knocked out Joe Dark? And then Gant came in and killed Marshall. And then pinned it on Emma.
I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth.
Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw.
Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time.
Actual crime scene.
When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on a suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. And that's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all was really a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor sword. You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright this morning.
What? To me?
It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. And I thought it might be needed.
But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright? She really does have faith in you.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture.
I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right?
I seem to remember getting something from her then.
Let's check that evidence again. Must be a picture in there somewhere.
She gave me this. Give me the evidence log? Oh yeah, it says it's the evidence log book. Oh boy, oh boy. Hey, there's a picture here.
Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw a crime scene like this.
Oh, no other detective saw a crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Lana's picture inserted into the court record. Kept proof of her freaking tampering on the crime scene for 2 years.
Mr. Wright, a piece cut out from his vest. Could that be?
Oh my gosh. The cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe. What's this?
This is a handprint, isn't it? That cloth. It had fingerprints on it. Whatever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
What?
But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma. Why are you your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright.
Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flesh out the real murderer. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body and Hill in a suit of armor sword.
Come now, Edgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant, what do you want to make me out as a bad guy too? And if so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense.
Objection!
I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify, and that means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort.
This must be that risk we were talking about earlier.
Just sit back, relax, and then enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. So what? You think I'm worried?
After that, yeah, I do. You can't be kidding me. Okay. There's some crazy thing coming up here. I don't know if it's right now, but I'm going to save. Because I want to show two... I think there's like a failure thing, and then there's like a good end. I don't remember exactly. There's something coming up. Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statement.
What do you mean?
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
Yes, that's true.
Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone. So, what's your excuse, righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt.
This is true, Mr. Wright.
Okay, so I remember this part. You just go, lol, I don't know what you're talking about, bud. And then he's screwed. If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as a murderer.
Mr. Wright, if you have evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries.
Okay. I'm gonna present it just to show what happens and then not present it. What do I do now? I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Officer Marshall? So yeah, we'll do it and then we'll not do it. Yes, Your Honor, I do have further evidence. Alright, it's finally time to show it to them. Whose prints have gotta be the Chief's? Now then, let's see this conclusive evidence. It shows who murdered... Oh, it even makes you choose it, too? It shows who murdered Prosecutor Marshall.
Take that!
It's a piece of leather cloth.
Yes, most likely it was cut from the victim's vest, near his chest.
What's this? There's a big handprint on it.
Surely it must have been left on the cloth by whoever shoved the victim into the sword.
What? Whose fingerprints are on this?
We don't actually know that, of course. I'm sure Righto has checked, haven't you?
Well, whose are they?
They're Miss Emma Skies.
What? They're mine? So I really did do it?
See? Oh, see, I told you it was conclusive.
Objection!
But this was found in your safe. That means it possibly you forged it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember any cloth in my safe. Do you really expect me to believe that?
Objection!
But
Give it up, Mr. Wright. It's over. You shouldn't have presented that. By presenting that evidence, you tied Emma Sky to Neil Marshall's death.
No. It appears we have our killer. This is not even the killer for the same case, bud.
no!
Everything hinged on that point. In the end, Lana alone was found guilty on all accounts. How does that thing that happened 2 years ago even... What? Yeah. I hope you don't save in the latter half of that, because I think you just get screwed. Anyways, yeah. You just don't present it. Cannot show evidence. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant. You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
No, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it.
What are you talking about, Chief Gant?
Can't you figure it out? Take a look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area?
It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the Chief of Police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department.
Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
What? You mean you admit to it?
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana.
So you really were manipulating her?
I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that's what she saw. That when she saw the scene, she would ask for my aid.
So you assisted, Miss Sky?
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
And I ended up using that evidence to get your dad convicted.
When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean items that were in your safe?
But why?
For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. And I wasn't about to let anybody blame me for a murder that girl committed.
You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging evidence?
What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jaw fragment? I hit the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off the pieces.
But if you fabricated all of the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too?
Oh. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance.
You mean that piece of cloth? What?
I have it, not you. Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. Oh yeah, because you mentioned it.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright?
So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago you said you didn't have the evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it before it was too late. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine! Yeah, then now you show the evidence. I'm sure there's a different end if you don't do it. Oh, we can't prove stuff. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now.
Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Mr. Prosecutor Marshall.
Take that!
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes, at last you finally brought it out in the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requested that to be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean? It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
Oh, you're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy.
What?
Think about it. Righto had all this time to present this evidence, yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be?
You mean you already know? You know his fingerprints are on that?
And Mr. Wright, do you really know?
Whoever the fingerprints must belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they?
Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person whose fingerprints belong to is...
Take that!
Emma Sky.
What? They're mine?
I'm sorry, Emma.
But why? Why didn't you tell me?
Oh, you're really something, Righto. This girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the matter on me.
So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death.
How could you monster?
This guy.
You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, and you acted like she really didn't.
Miss Sky, it's not over yet.
What?
You said this trial isn't over. I said this trial isn't over yet. But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? The cat got you done. Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer. Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall?
What?
Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask?
There was Emma Sky, wasn't it?
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction.
What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about?
I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is.
Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict?
Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Holy moly, I would not know this if I wasn't looking at the guide. Lana's... It would have blood on it. But it was cut before he was stabbed. Rip. Bam.
Take that!
And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at this photograph. See where the piece of his vest was cut out?
Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though.
Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth.
Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it.
Ah! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at the time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, Let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside.
He was most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword?
Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. The jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it.
Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. Whoa, he looks crazy. It's finally all over.
Objection!
Just have Oh, that was close, Raito. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations.
What do you mean you refute his allegation?
You see that piece of cloth? It's illegal evidence.
Order. What nonsense is this?
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Haji? Earlier, old Raito here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Raito? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. I can present it later.
Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence.
At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
Well, that's not fair.
You actually think you could best me in court? Looks like the last laugh's on you, son.
I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, true, the legal evidence cannot be used to convict a person, assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Well, Mr. Wright. It seems, at last, the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth?
I kind of want to know what it is when you're like, I did. I kind of want to know what happens, but you just go, I didn't. No, if I admit to that, all my planning will look like for nothing.
It seems Mr. Wright didn't understand the implications of his conduct. If you're going to change your position, this is your only chance, Mr. Wright.
That's right. Oh, so you just take damage. I admit, I refused it at one point. So the evidence is illegal.
Objection!
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. It's not that I didn't present evidence then, it's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involved in presenting evidence. No, Archie, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward you can't really believe.
Objection!
There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well. Let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
So it moves forward even if you're like, it is illegal. Well, evidence law.
Take that!
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law.
Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It
goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on the trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Objection!
Sorry, but can you recall? When was that picture presented?
That was shown only a few moments ago. No! He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless.
The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant.
You yourself confessed to a certain truth.
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest?
Oh, yes! No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth.
The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before the prosecutor marshal in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant, the killer was you!
Oh my, I'm going psycho! I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman.
Detective Goodman?
Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, partner, I'll lose my only chance to find the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Something like that. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. What's that like? That's like Edward. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. And I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? I don't even have a Goodman voice. Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? Can't transfer the evidence out. There's too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand this all over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. What a cursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. And I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worried so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake.
The bloody handprint
On Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. And then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will.
Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how? How could you get Miss Sky involved in all this?
Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. And so you took the evidence from Detective Goodwin's locker. And I felt bad for having to do it, and I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments in the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Not really, we had to do everything. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well on close examination. Must have known that. Tell me, Worthy. Why do you stand in court? Me. You despise criminals, and I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down to once you tried to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy! What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, David Cat. I knew you as you used to be, long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Edgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Righto here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sound of a new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes. First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. This trial's over. I'll tell you everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Ryan. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break. Yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Knight to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it! I only did my job. Like a boss. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. In order. Miss Sky. Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact still remains that you acted as an accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time. A long time since I felt free of these happy chains. Why was she wearing that bloody coat? We still do not know. Especially when she was just taking the body out of the trunk. What? Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned.
25th, 7:03 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended.
I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. Thank you, my thanks, Mr. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have these past few days. You've done well.
No, I was just doing my job.
Okay, we don't need to go over the whole thing.
You know, I did my best too. But Wanda didn't say a single word to me.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Hey, wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Got a lot of know-of, pal, making a detective run all over the place. You're doing us on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run all over while on duty. On top of that, call me Hill. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals, I'm only kidding.
Oh, are you here because of my sister again?
Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
Me?
That's why. I thought you'd like to see someone.
Anna.
Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest. No, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology.
It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it.
That day, 2 years ago. It was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess.
Sis.
I asked Ed to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. Now, I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself. I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you would look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you would react if you knew.
But sis, you're only doing it for me.
No.
Huh?
I turned my back on you that day. I was hiding what I believed to be the truth. I was deceiving you.
Sis.
Such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry.
Sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now.
You're happy.
Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have.
Oh, Emma. Hug. Hug it out. Oh, there it is. Hug it out. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our rightful path. The end. Oh, I mean, and it's from there that we can move to a brighter future. That's a good thing to have. That's my moral. At least that's what I felt watching you with your sister wake up. Mr. Gumshoe. Hey. Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right? Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here.
I'm pissed or something.
Where is he hiding?
I just came to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Alright, well, I'll be going now.
Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you.
And it's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. I do despise criminals. And I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I needed a weapon. And it's scary. But I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth? Who knows? And given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me, and that's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma. Both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. And you said in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? Right? Oh yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show what one is talking about. So you can get like a not as good end, or you can get a good end on a lot of these trials. I have no idea what the not a good end is, so evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. This parking stub!
Take that!
That might mean something to you, but I don't see that it has to do with our partnership. Huh? Mr. Wright, it seems you still have a lot to learn as well, and I guess that wasn't the right piece of evidence. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor.
Edgeworth, what will you do now? Whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. Okay, so I'll present the right piece of evidence. Evidence list. Because there's two halves to a whole, because we're buddies. Oh,
Take that!
that's the picture I did. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore on this picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go.
Mr. Edgeworth?
If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Whatever, right?
Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you.
I know. Seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now, it's my problem.
Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court.
Farewell.
I better be going too.
Okay, I'll be back to visit soon.
Seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. It has a little chick with a little hat and magnifying glass again. That's great.
Scientific investigation?
It's the first book I ever bought in the study of knowledge.
Thanks, sis. I will.
And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives only just begun. And that we'll see one of them as a recurring character for a long time. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. It's called Game 2 of the series. The worst one. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go twacking off yet, just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective?
There was just a little matter that was all about the chief prosecutor. See, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this.
But I thought you said it was okay.
Yeah, well, maybe okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story.
Huh?
Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her over here for 30 minutes. Believe me, I wasn't cheap either.
Huh?
My God, it's happening. I didn't know you had a wild side.
Yeah, well, you see, Mr. White here is the one who will be foot the bill.
Huh? Huh?
What do you think I can afford that on my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best.
Why is it?
I suddenly feel like I want to scream.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we go pay it off together?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys, let's go.
Objection!
There we go. It's like the full first game with the DLC. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. Hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Oh boy, we're gonna get Meekins. Still, I managed to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma.
Yikes, I thought I was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you, they said. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted as a security guard. My partner is keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them though, someday I'm going to make a detective. Yes sir, then I can be just like the Dick Gumshoe.
That's the number one reason why I like Meekins. And I thought there was more about him looking up to Gumshoe. Maybe it's in a different case, but he's like, oh, Gumshoe, he's great. He thinks Gumshoe's great. Gumshoe's like kind of sucks, but he's also great. I don't know. It's just funny to have somebody who looks up to Gumshoe. Okay, thanks, Blue Badger. We need to see your dance again. No.
What is it? Can't you see I'm having a showdown with the steak lunch partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's seen the guard, it seems. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. You make sure Billy and the gang get their water?
It looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. Like for the rest of the series. As a farewell gift, I put the new meal on the menu, the Right Way Lunch. Top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Sorry, layer. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It was a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. Still gotta talk to Emma. Benja. Worked on Bloodstain too. Another game that I have on the Switch. And I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. He's also Phoenix Wright's voice. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left. Anyway, he said he's been doing some, or
or other for how many years? Something or other for how many years? But anyway, I've got another trial to go to, so I'd better be... Huh? Oh no. And I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. Okay, Judge. I don't know if you're gonna get an end thing. I don't remember her voice.
Ah! Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Sometimes I do missing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Stigmaya, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming! Well, see you around, Nick.
I don't remember her voice. Probably Emma's voice. And I just gave him the same voice. I don't know. Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm Mr. Edgeworth. I brought you your tea. Oh, what's going on? Oh, what is this? Yes! My voice is a little beat up, I can't quite do his yeah thing or whatever. But it just kind of sounded like Ant.
Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe.
I don't think you can get there by train, but
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book.
oh. Pio. Right outside the little police department. That's cute. During the end credits, whenever a character comes on screen, spread the powder to reveal the art. Dang it, I didn't know that. So... is it a new game? Oh, okay. Because before it would unlock pieces. So if I click this... yeah, then I can choose episodes, that's right. Larry Butts, the murder thing, the whole April May thing, Mia dies, Kill Samurai, the whole thing with Edgeworth killing out a Yogi except he didn't. Oh wow, I like how they put the Blue Badger in shadow. So he's like the jar or whatever. That's great. Well, next time, we're gonna move on to Justice for All. Game that came out a year later, I think? This is, when you make a game like Phoenix Wright, like, you don't know it's gonna do well, right? This is kind of it's a visual novel genre. Who the heck knows? Especially on like the Game Boy Advance DS era. I don't think there's much going on around that time for this genre, and this genre is not even that popular, so it's like, who knows, right? Oh wait, it was actually successful. We gotta spit out a cred. A little cred. Thus, Justice for All was made. And then they took 2 years to make Trials and Tribulations, which is my favorite game in the series, so.
This game's a little light on mechanics. It's mostly look at evidence, present evidence. Until the last case when you start looking at things in 3D and putting powder down and just that little things. Put the jar together. Because that came out later. So as the games progress, there's kind of more of those gimmicky things that help mix up the game. Justice for All, I don't know if it has much of that, but I think there's a little more of it. I think this is where you get the Megatama, if I remember, which is Phoenix's basically his superpower throughout the series. So, super cheater, can tell when people are lying. It's kind of nuts. Yeah, episode 1. Bird, or whatever her name is, she's right there. She was on the inside of Gumshoe's locker. In the last case, we saw her for just a second. Maggie Bird, that's her name. It's a case with her, Rich Wellington, and Phoenix, or whatever. That's what we'll get to next time. But until then, thank you for watching. It is late and good night.